A to Z Mysteries, Book Number 24, The X'd Out X-Ray, by Ron Roy. Chapter 5. That evening, Dink ate dinner in front of the TV with his parents. His mother cut his meat for him and made his favorite cookies for dessert. His bandaged arm was resting on a pillow that he held on his lap. Dink's father winked at him. "Some kids will do anything to get out of their chores," he said. "Look, there's Penelope Gwynn," Dink's mother said. She turned up the volume on the TV. A reporter was interviewing the singer about the theft of her diamond pendant. Dink could see the white penguin trailer behind them. "It was a gift from someone special," Penguin said. "I'm shocked and angry that anyone would steal it." "I'm sure you must feel terrible," the reporter said. "But your fans feel awful too. Will you give another concert tomorrow?" "No, I'm too upset," Penelope said. "I can't think of singing right now, even for my loyal fans. I'll make sure everyone gets a refund." The camera left Penelope's face. "Well, that's the story," the reporter said into the camera. "Someone wearing a penguin mask stole Penelope Gwynn's priceless necklace while asking her for an autograph." The phone rang. Dink's mother answered it, then handed the portable phone to Dink. "Hello?" he said. "Did you see that?" Ruth Rose asked. "The thief was one of her fans." "I know," Dink said. "Pretty rotten." Dink stared ahead. He was trying to remember something when Ruth Rose said, "Dink, are you there?" "Yeah," he said. "Listen, come over tomorrow after I get back from the doctor's, okay?" Just as Dink hung up, the phone rang again. "Hello?" "I think it was that hot dog guy," Josh exclaimed. "He had an autograph book, remember?" "Lots of people there had autograph books," Dink said. Then he remembered something. "Josh, after we came out of the first aid tent, the hot dog cart was gone." "See, I told you," Josh said. "That guy with the hairy fingers is the thief." "Maybe," Dink said. "Can you come over tomorrow so we can talk about it with Ruth Rose?" he asked. "What time is lunch?" Josh asked. Dink laughed and hung up. Dink's father shut off the TV and picked up a book. Seeing the book made Dink remember the yellow-haired woman who had been sitting in front of him during the concert. She had been holding an autograph book. And she seemed pretty mad at that cop for not letting her leave the park right after the theft. At 10 o'clock the next morning, Dink and his mom drove to the family medicine clinic on Main Street. The receptionist brought them to Dr. Bright's office. Dr. Bright snapped on a pair of rubber gloves. Dink handed him the envelope containing the X-rays. "What's this?" Dr. Bright asked, holding up the X'd out X-ray. "The other doctor took that one while I had the bandage on," Dink explained. "He said it was too blurry, so he did another one with my bandage off." Dink pointed to the envelope. Dr. Bright slid the X-ray back into the envelope and pulled out the other one. He attached it to a light board and examined Dink's arm bones. "I see nothing in this X-ray except healthy bones," Dr. Bright said. "I think you just suffered a minor sprain, Dink." Dr. Bright unwrapped Dink's bandage and examined his arm. He cleaned the scrape and put on a sterile band-aid. "No sports for a few days, kiddo," he said. "And stay off carousels." Chapter 6. Later in Dink's room, Ruth Rose laid the Green Lawn newspaper across Dink's desk. There was a large photograph of Penelope Gwynn and a drawing of her penguin necklace. Under the pictures, the caption read, "Penelope's penguin pendant purloined." "What's purloined?" Josh asked. He was flopped on Dink's bed with Dink's guinea pig, Loretta, on his chest. "I don't know," Dink said, reaching for his dictionary. He flipped to the P section and ran his finger down the page. "Purloin means to steal," he said after a minute. "Duh," Josh said. "I could have figured that out." Then why didn't you? Dink asked, grinning at Josh. Listen to what Penelope told the reporter, Ruth Rose said, reading the paragraph under the pictures. I always sign autographs during my intermission. I was signing and thanking my fans when suddenly someone grabbed my necklace. It all happened so fast. Before I could react, the thief was running away. We were almost witnesses, Josh said. Except that the necklace didn't get stolen until we were on the carousel, Dink reminded him. Josh aimed a crooked smile at Dink. Actually, only 2 of us were on the carousel, he said. You were falling off. I didn't do it on purpose, Josh, Dink said, rubbing his arm. Ruth Rose was still reading. It says Penelope stood by the gate as each person left the park, she said. But she didn't recognize the thief. Maybe the guy split right away, Josh said. He purloined the necklace, then boogied out of the park before they closed the gates. Dink told Ruth Rose about the missing hot dog cart. You mean it just disappeared? Asked Ruth Rose. Dink shrugged. It was gone when we all left the first aid tent, he said. I was right, Josh said. Just think, the same fingers that served our hot dogs stole Penelope Gwyn's necklace. Might have, Dink said. But do you guys remember that woman sitting in front of me during the concert? Ruth Rose and Josh shook their heads. Well, there was this woman with an autograph book, Dink said. As soon as Penelope Gwyn announced the intermission, she ran up to the stage. Then, when the cops were stopping everyone at the exit, she got all mad at them. Maybe she stole the diamond penguin. Penelope never said it was a man, Ruth Rose commented. She glanced back at the newspaper. She just told the reporter someone stole her necklace. So it could have been a man or a woman, Dink said. Even a tall kid. Maybe Penelope Gwyn remembers something else about the thief today, Ruth Rose said. She was so upset yesterday she could have forgotten something important. Why don't we go talk to her? Just like them? Josh said. This big star isn't gonna talk to 3 kids, Ruth Rose. Ruth Rose grabbed her newspaper. Well, I think she will. Meet me at my house in 5 minutes. But I'm hungry, Josh said. Don't you people ever eat? But Ruth Rose was already at the door. Dink took Loretta from Josh and put her back in her cage. Come on downstairs, he said. Mom made some peanut butter cookies last night. Josh jumped off the bed. Finally, someone thinks of me, he said, following Dink out of the room. Dink found a note on the kitchen table. Gone with Dad. Be back later. Mom. Dink turned the note over and wrote a message of his own. Gone with Josh and Ruth Rose. Be back later. Dink. He and Josh each ate 2 cookies with milk. Dink took the last 2 as they headed out the door. Can I have one of those? Josh asked. Oink, oink, Dink said. These are for Ruth Rose and Nate. They walked across the lawn to Ruth Rose's house. Dink rang the bell, and Ruth Rose's 4-year-old brother Nate opened the door. Hi, Nate, Dink said, and handed him a cookie. Wow, thanks, Nate said. He turned and raced away. A minute later, Ruth Rose showed up. She was holding the photograph of Penelope Gwyn with the singer's signature on the bottom. When Penelope sees what I wrote on the back, she'll talk to us, Ruth Rose said. She flipped the picture over. Ruth Rose's note said, Dear Miss Gwyn, we have information about the person who stole your diamond. Signed, Ruth Rose Hathaway, Dink Duncan, and Josh Pinto.